Robinson seems to be making some broad gesture towards misogyny and sexism. That's just what you need in a slasher movie. I'm pretty sure as the guy is getting his axe and like ramming it through the various different innocent people, you're not supposed to be thinking, based. Now the main villain is gentrification. I Know What You Did Last Summer reviews are out, and they are not good. 55% of people thinking that this is a 5 or below. Now it is important that you don't confuse I Know What You Did Last Summer with I Know What You Did Last Summer. Or even I Know What You Did Last Summer. Look, marketing isn't their strong point. Nor is their review scores. If there's one thing we can say about their critic reviews, is they are remarkably consistent in the mid-40s. Even the opinion of the audiences are stable. But if the naming scheme isn't confusing enough for you, well, we also have I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, and I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer, with the last one getting an incredibly respectable 0% fresh. I gotta be honest, I actually think that's impressive. That's a score you've got to try to achieve. That takes talent in itself. Even I Still Know What You Did Last Summer got a 10%. Entertainment Weekly reviewed that one and just nothing. I'm not even gonna bother putting text in the box. Hey, at least Variety liked it. This year's follow-up is predictable, but better than the original 2025. Mate, you've reviewed the wrong movie. This is so weird. If you click through to the full review, it takes you to an old archived newspaper from 1998. Pisces, it's all starting to happen. Your good luck is back. Well, at least you can fact check that one, any Pisces from 1998.
Keep manifesting, ladies.
But the I Know What You Did Last Summer movies are quite interesting when it comes to critic reviews. They all get like 45% or below. And they weren't even that successful at the box office. So the first one, obviously, 17 million to 125 million, massively profitable, hugely successful. But then we had 24 to 40. Don't have numbers for the other one because one's not out yet and the other was straight to DVD. It is bizarre though, for a franchise that has only ever had one hit, to have so many different films, a TV series, and direct-to-video movies that seemingly no one liked. Like if it was just the critics, I could understand. They don't really do well when it comes to reviewing entertainment. This has been a problem with critics ever since I was a kid. They think movies are art, and so review it as art, not entertainment, which is what the audience generally goes off. But considering I remember this to be a massive IP, I am surprised that so few people seemingly liked it. So I didn't expect this movie to get reviewed well, and that's true. It has a mid-credit scene, which is a rarity, but in 2 to 3 minutes sets up a movie sequel that is more entertaining than the actual movie. The original felt like a cheap cash-in. Certainly is now. Cannot escape its past because it doesn't want to. That would require some kind of thought and effort. Middling kills, forgettable plot, keep it firmly in the decent enough for a streaming tier night of horror revivals. Very mediocre. The idea only worked for one movie, rendering a revival a dreadful offering of unwanted nostalgia. A pretty average slasher movie. That does seem to be a major problem with even having this movie as an idea. When you know the box office was a one-hit wonder that for some reason kept getting made. At least with Jurassic Park, they kept pumping out even though people seemingly don't like them, but everyone goes to see them, so you know this movie is serving an audience, even if it's not a large part of the critics. This doesn't seem to have an audience. It had an audience once and then never made money. And the world of 1997 was very different than now. Now it's hard enough to get people to go to the cinema anyway, when the experience of your house is largely the same or better than the cinema in the first place. Whereas 1997 had the first plasma TV screens, and so back then you would be watching something resembling one of these. It's understandable people went to the cinema a lot more. Not now though. Now, to get people into the cinema, you're going to have to do a lot better than a 45%, which all your other movies have been anyway. By this point, you know if you're going to like this movie. The critics are complaining because it's more of the same. But if back in 1997 you were one of the 40% that liked it, more of the same might be exactly what you want. I was going to use Final Destination Bloodlines as an example because I like that movie, but I think that should have all the same criticisms of I Know What You Did Last Summer. Yeah, everybody loves it. Definitely not the best example then. Because there are positive reviews of this. Delivers as promised a straight-up no-frills, unironic slasher. Tense, suspenseful, appropriately non-capital B lag humour. Gory kills. Although another sequel, that'll be one too many. There's a guy who's drawn a line in the sand. I like this one, but no more. This one was great, but don't give me any more good stuff. I only want bad stuff from here.
So, what do you think?
I think it's a beautiful lie.
Hits the right nostalgic notes. Some are B-movie thrills. And I have to say, if you're complaining about plot holes in a I Know What You Did Last Summer movie, these movies just aren't for you. They're just not. My ideal summer slasher. A fun melting pot of one bad or underutilized idea after another. Trite, Fanservice-heavy sequel. Fanservice is good. Fanservice means giving the fans what they want. No, you should call them bigots and racists, that's what they enjoy. Has the audacity to have one of its characters vehemently express that nostalgia is overrated, despite relying on it. Well, I suppose as long as they die immediately after saying it, then they'd get what they deserve. Doesn't clear the hurdle of making the case of why legacy matters. Nothing much has changed, almost exclusively for the worse.
That doesn't make any sense.
It stayed exactly the same. Somehow gotten worse. I don't even know how that's possible. Surely only change can make things worse. Now, the strange part is that while looking at the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, you get a very definite image of the overall tone of what people thought about the movie. At least you'd think so, right until you find the Rotten Tomatoes summary of what Rotten Tomatoes people think of the movie. Somehow, they managed to turn a 45% positive of just above a 5. And like, well, is it a worthy summer flick? It's the catch of the season. Surpasses expectations. How does it compare to the rest? It's the best one ever. Continue to surprise and horrify fans, just like its predecessors, with a higher body count. Do we really need this? Who really cares? It's unpretentiously pleasurable. I think we could need more original ideas, but this one's so entertaining I'll give it a pass. We're here to relive the very entertaining movie. It's more terrifying than ever. I can understand professional critics who may need to keep access to the movies. It's far easier to get traffic to a movie if you've seen it before anybody else, just through sheer exclusivity. But of all the people that you would thought did not need to spin a narrative about a movie, would be Rotten Tomatoes' summary of Rotten Tomatoes. It's not as if they're even trying to hide it. There is a link in the first paragraph to the page, which shows you the exact opposite of what they're summarizing on the page. It's got 43%. Do you want to reserve your tickets? Wait, this movie is 2 hours long. That is your problem. This is the same problem Jurassic World has. If you just want to make a slasher movie where people just die in an entertaining way, and that's the entire point, make it 90 minutes. Maximum. There is absolutely no excuse for your gory horror film to be longer than 90 minutes. None of these people are interesting enough that you need to know their backstory. So what you're left with is a movie that needs a sharper hook. You know you're in trouble when the media start asking your actors why they even bothered to return. It's like, look, we know what you did last summer, and we know what you ate last summer. Everything. This is the kind of refresh/sequel that gives franchise reboots a bad name, where they start to ask, who is this even for? Despite just one day before going, the cast keeps talking about this killer secret. Well, it turns out whatever that killer secret was, it didn't impress them. They were all excited on the red carpet until they got the early access. What's funny is apparently they wanted Gellar to reappear in the movie. Like, maybe you aren't dead. Maybe you faked your death. Maybe you have a twin. Really pitched any version of her to be alive in the movie, and Sarah was just like, I'm dead. The politest way that a director's ever been told to go f*** himself. I'm doing a Buffy reboot now. I don't need you.
These youth, bro. What are you gonna do?
That was from the first movie. If all your characters look like that, you might actually make a profit in this one. Why are we making a legacy sequel to a slasher that's only remained relevant because of its cultural touchstone, Scream? It's a bizarre enterprise from the moment it starts, laden with exposition, absolutely zero actual characterization, which is, unfortunately, a rough indicator of what's to come. All we ever learn about the film's lead, Ava, is that her mother is dead and she's apparently bi. Two facts that are notably not character traits. That's an interesting part of a movie review in itself because it's always been true. Never would have mentioned it. It's not often you get reviews from mainstream media that are going, why do you keep banging on about identity groups, you stupid tart? It's not actually characterization and it's not part of a good story.
Get away from him.
Them.
What?
Me.
What?
I'm them.
You're who?
The only reason for this even to exist in the movie is so you could get two hot women to get together and show something for the dads. Nearly nothing works here. Near the end, two characters try to underline the whole journey by regurgitating internet speak of how men would rather do blank rather than go to therapy. That would be because it's the feminine exercise designed for women and reliving experiences for men actually makes them worse, but hey, never interrupt someone with low IQ, it's funny. Robinson seems to be making some broad gesture towards misogyny and sexism. That's just what you need in a slasher movie. I'm pretty sure as the guy is getting his axe and like ramming it through the various different innocent people, you're not supposed to be thinking, based. That one definitely had it coming. The film is not otherwise supported, even in the slightest sense. It doesn't matter, because this is the writers putting in their own beliefs into the movie, because they're too thick to do anything else. They can't abstract, can't put themselves in someone else's different perspective. So, them will always be the movie. Who are the writers of this movie? I think I could probably tell. Ta-da! Ta-da! I'll stop believing stereotypes when they stop being correct. When the twists come, and I'll admit the reveal of who is behind the bloodshed is surprising, if for no other reason than it will break your brain with how absurd it is. There's nothing to hang your hat on. The sociopolitics of the killer's reveal suggests something quite cynical about the filmmaker's perception of class, money, and addiction. It is a movie that is nasty for every reason other than its rote kills. I'm not surprised that someone who can't abstract is unable to write somebody else's motivation about class and money. If it's not me, it must be the opposite of me. Now, this is a lazy update on a franchise that should have been long dead by now. It's not the worst horror sequel that's been ever put on a screen, as they gave it a 4 out of 10, but it doesn't try to be anything other than a shallow reflection of its predecessors. Quite a few. This is a slasher whodunit meets who cares. In the original movie, the characters were in effect being stalked by their guilt, whereas now the main villain is gentrification. The powers that be want to bury any memory of the murders 28 years ago. The new wealth is the real theme here. That's what the characters are really being punished for. Danica and her friends are children of privilege. The film should be called I Know What You Saw at the Megaplex Last Century, and you're still seeing it. Or my favourite headline, the new I Know What You Did Last Summer is torture. You might think it's good schlocky fun, but I assure you it's not. They talk about how it overuses jump scares, which they correctly point out that if you build anticipation and then boom, our bodies respond to this, so we get bilked into thinking that we're legitimately scared. But you're not, it's just an adrenaline surge. You're not scared, there is no fear. It's no different than hitting someone's knee and watching their leg go up. True horror, true fear, is where you manage to build something in everyone else's heads or making up what's about to happen. You essentially create the perfect horror film in your own head, because anything that you think is about to happen will always be worse than what actually does. This is how things like Alien got away with barely showing the monster, because everyone was making up in their own head what they thought the monster would be. When it comes to horror movies, Mystery Box is actually something that genuinely works. It's far more terrifying than jump scares, and those in this movie are more egregious than most. It tries to make fault for its lack of scares by introducing screeching flashbacks. Our ears get a workout, but our minds just dissolve further. Not scary enough to thrill, funny enough to charm, or clever enough to convince. It isn't just forgettable, it's actively irritating. It's not surprising that a movie in 2025 would start bringing up class and projecting its own writers' social economic policies into a movie, whereas the audience would probably get more of a thrill if they just got thrown into the movie as well. I'm not surprised this isn't going to be reviewed very well. When you can't even understand morality, they're getting stalked by guilt. They were meant to be getting punished for their actions, whereas now people get punished because they have more money than you'd like, says the rich Hollywood executives. Rolling your eyes in a horror movie probably isn't good, but rolling them at the creators during it would destroy any kind of suspense and attention. And you're also limiting it to only people that agree with you, which is basically nobody. Oh no, please don't gentrify this area and civilize it. And last thing I want in civilization is superior people improving it. Whoa, the horror. Although maybe that is the theme of the movie, that they don't actually want people improving things. They want everything to degenerate and rot, which is actually something that it seems they've done to this movie. And I think the real question for this entire movie is, why is it just not on streaming? This is a franchise that had a direct-to-video release. Nowadays, that's just putting a movie on streaming. And when your franchise has only ever had one hit 28 years ago, just put it on streaming. I know the entertainment industry is at a point where it wants to remake stuff, looking for IPs that it can do all over again. But if you're after a movie where you thought nostalgia could carry it and carry people into the cinema, you are sadly mistaken. This is not the Final Destination as a franchise. And if you think you can get people back in with Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr., then I think they are in for a surprise. People have said Hollywood are out of ideas before, but when you are recycling your flops, then you really need to start cycling through your staff and getting better people back in the industry. But those are just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you liked the video. Subscribe, more videos in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.